You live?
If I'm live, hello, 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 and welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Diana Vega, and this is Telling Stories. We are a storytelling project that showcases Black storytellers. So we have had four virtual shows since last October, and today is our first live show. Y'all make some noise. Some people we don't have the capabilities to pan the audience. So I want people to know that there's people here. Not a laugh track. Not a laugh. Okay, so before we officially get started, today is September 11th, 20 years since the attack. I would like for us to just take a brief moment of silence to remember those whose lives were lost and what we felt on that day, wherever we were. My father actually was working in the Pentagon and was a doctor and was how to help rescue people. Maybe he will share that story one day. But that is what we faced 20 years ago. So if we could just take a moment of silence to recognize that moment. Thank you. So technically it is September, but I said I wanted to do a live show in summer, and it's still summer. So put that pumpkin spice away. We have 11 more days of summer. So we are going to hear from five fabulous storytellers who are going to share their favorite summer memories or summer times. I have a summer birthday, so I personally love summer. One of my favorite summer memories is when we spent a summer with our grandmother, who actually lives in the basement. We don't like keep her there. She's a very nice setup. She will be 95. Um, and she lives in Selma, Alabama. And my mother, who's on the porch. Hello, mom. She sent us to Selma because she was getting her PhD and she needed peace and quiet. And that summer felt like torture, like living with your grandma who makes you like turn off the TV during a thunderstorm. But we also got to play with our cousins. Our cousin they had a trampoline in the back, before they put up the little, how they put up those things now for the kids. This was back in the nets, yeah. Back in the day, he just be doing flips. We don't have that cousin who could have gone to the Olympics and been a gymnast if he had the money to do so. And just shooting fireworks and people's lawns. It was a great, great time. I look back fondly on it now. At the time, it felt like torture, but now it was a bonding time for my brother and I, for our cousins, spend time with our grandmother. So that is one of my favorite summer memories. So now we are going to bring up our first storyteller, who I compelled a little bit to be in the show because he's my brother.
That's me, y'all.
He is a wonderful person. He's a licensed therapist, right? A TSU graduate, and he's going to share his favorite summer. Maybe not favorite. He's going to share
favorite,
a summer memory. Please welcome Daniel Vega.
All right, y'all. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling?
Doing all right.
In the summertime stories. All right. So again, my name is Daniel Vega. Show of hands, how many of y'all had a summer job when you were in high school, teenager? Okay. Keep them up for a minute. Now, show of hands if you ever been fired from a job, high school, teenager. Okay, hands slowly going down. Okay, I see you. I see you in the back. All right. So that is my summertime story. Definitely not one of my favorites. So the year was the 99 to the 2000.
Okay.
Actually, it was the summer 2000. I was 16 years old and I was working at Corner Bakery. Now, for those who are from the area, I worked at the Corner Bakery in Bethesda, Maryland. So you already have an idea of the type of clientele, bougie, ritzy, things got to be ever so, just so perfect. But it's Corner Bakery. But it's one of my first jobs. I'm slicing the bread in the bread slicer, making espresso, mixing mocha with the coffee, all this good stuff. Just doing my thing, getting my little paycheck, thinking I'm doing something. I didn't buy Jordans or anything, but whatever fresh stuff I could get, at 16. And the other perk was my aunt Janice. She was one of the managers there, so she was showing me the ins and outs of the food industry. But the number one rule was don't treat me like your auntie at this job. Don't call me auntie. I'm your boss. So just keep that in mind as the story progresses. So things are going well at Corner Bakery. Slinging coffee, serving sandwiches, all that good stuff. One Saturday morning, I'm working the shift. Two of the employees were out that day. I'm enjoying my break, eating my sandwich, drinking my coffee, just chilling, relaxing. But my coworker, who went on break right after me, did not refill the coffee machines, did not slice the bread, just had nothing ready. Nothing. So when my break is over, I'm manning the cashiers, I'm slicing the bread, I'm making the coffee. The coffee machines are overflowing. The steam from the espressos coming out, burning me on my arm. And there's a line coming out from the front all the way down to Montgomery Mall, which was like around the corner from the corner bakery. And to make it even worse, every other customer was ordering a large coffee. So, I remind you, the machines were overflowing. So, as I'm trying to get the large coffee, I'm also burning myself with the large coffee. So, line is moving slowly. In comes this family husband, wife, two little kids. The husband says, "We're not ready to order yet." So, he and the kids go outside. The wife takes a little step back, and I'm letting the other customers go. Well, one customer took it upon herself to say, "Well, I feel like I'm being really rude. This lady's been standing here this whole time, and I don't want to, go in front of her." Now, mind you, she still took her order, and like didn't hesitate. But I told the lady, I said, "Okay, she's not ready yet." So I put in her order, and then the wife who was waiting, she comes up. And mind you, this was before the whole Karen thing, but this was the Karen of all Karens. So she said to me, "I don't appreciate how you just dismissed me and did not acknowledge me and ask what my order was. Just because my husband said he wasn't ready did not mean I was not ready." And to add insult to injury, she said, "I worked in the restaurant industry for a long time, so I'm just giving you a little tip." Okay, okay. So I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry to have you waiting so long. What would you like to order?" "I want an egg sandwich bagel with the crust slightly crusted off, cut off, lightly toasted." I'm just kidding. I don't remember her order, but it was something ridiculous. So I go over to the other side of the cashier. I'm slicing her bagel, and I'm slowly saying a word I should not have said. I'm slicing, and I say, "Bitch, bitch, 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 bitch." Now, if you know my family, we're not known for being whisperers, and my voice has a tendency to carry. So in my mind, I thought I was saying "bitch" kind of quietly, but my coworker walks up to me and is like, "Hey, I think she can hear you." But the damage was already done. So I walk over to the lady with the sandwich. I say, "Here you go, ma'am. Would you like a coffee with your sandwich?" "Yes, I would like a small espresso, please." So I go over to the coffee machine. Now I'm fluent in Spanish too. So now I'm like talking about her in Spanish to my other coworker. But the lady must have known Spanish because she's standing there just like, so make her coffee, get ready to ring her up. And then she said those famous 6 words no employee wants to hear. Can I speak with your manager? So I get my manager. I'm still ringing up customers. Out the corner of my eye, I see her just talking to my manager, arms just flailing, pointing at me like, just shaking her head. Manager comes up to me and says, Daniel, I think it's time for you to go home. So I take my apron off. I say, okay, but I just want you to know, whatever that lady said, she was exaggerating. Manager says, no, I don't think she was. So I get home. My family says, why are you home so early? I tell them, well, I just got fired. They're asking me why. I said, well, I may have said something I shouldn't have said to a customer. My dad here in the front, he said, Daniel, what did you say? I said, I didn't say anything bad. Daniel, what did you say? I said, I may have called her the B word, but she was acting like one. So I actually got called in the next day, and that was my last day. Like, I officially got fired. Luckily, my aunt was not there that weekend when all of this transpired. But after my firing, the next 2 weeks, I could not look my aunt in the eye. Every time she walked by, she just went, mm, mm. My nephew calling customers bitches. That is not the nephew I raised and trained. But that following summer, I still was able to work for Corner Bakery. My aunt just had me in the catering division, so I wouldn't be able to call customers bitches or any other kind of names. And I haven't been fired from a job since. Thanks, y'all.
Okay, sorry. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Daniel. Oh, it's nothing like getting fired, period, from a summer job as a teen, also. And also, if you knew our Auntie Janice, she was tough. She didn't play, she didn't care. If you were related to her, when she employed all of her nieces and nephews and some of her extended um, nieces as well. And when you got to work, you better call her Miss Peoples like everybody else and be prepared to work. So thank you for sharing that story. Next up to the stage is this is her second time on the Telling Stories stage. She is a fabulous makeup artist. What else do you do? All the things. She has her own brush coming out, her own makeup brush coming out. She works for the feds in the daytime. But really, she is a Jill of all trades. If you need Patrice for anything or if you need anything, she probably has it in her handbag. Please welcome Patrice McMillan to the stage. Okay, so you guys gonna have to forgive me. I just wrote down this story earlier today, so I don't want to forget all of the good stuff. But so this story is going to be entitled "She Called Me a Tree Hugger," and this story is dedicated to my mom, Patricia McMillan. Tomorrow would have been her 70th birthday, so happy birthday, mom. Okay, so when I think about summer, I think about my mom's relentless efforts into making sure that I was busy and I stayed out of trouble. So we lived in the hood, and if you know anything about DC, we lived in Southeast Anacostia. She didn't want me out there in them streets. So she was hell bent and determined to make sure that I made something of myself. So to say that she was a tiger mom was an understatement. I had done everything from ballet to kiddie book club to NASA sponsored camps at UDC. I mean, this lady was serious. When I turned 14, I thought I was grown, and I was like, I'm going to get myself a job. And she was like, no, ma'am. I was very sadly mistaken when that happened. This lady found a program for me to be taught math and science all summer, and they paid us for it because we tested out the TI-83 calculator the summer before it came out. Okay, so
And you have to understand that this lady was absolutely resourceful because this was before the internet. So she was like nose to the grindstone, like making sure that she found these programs. I don't know how she found them. So oftentimes, when you live in the hood, there's always some organization coming around trying to gather us all together and go do something with us. So somehow I got hooked up with the environmental conservation crew. And these people actually came to my school and gathered us all together. So during the summers, we formed this baby environmentalist group. So we would spend our spring breaks and all of our summers cleaning up, doing environmental work, and hanging out in the woods. And I was quite into it. Like I really enjoyed doing it. I mean, not the dirt, the bugs, and sleeping in tents, but like everything else was cool. You know. So, um, but my and it was so funny because my mom would often say that she swore that one day she was gonna turn on the TV and see me tied to a tree somewhere protesting something and like trying to save the environment. So that was why she called me a tree hugger. So one time the tree huggers actually talked my parents into going on a trip with us. So I don't know if you know, but there is a little teeny island in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay called Tangier Island, and they took us to this island. So they piled all of us on this boat, and they took us to one of the islands to have a long stay in a, we're going to call it a rustic cabin. Okay. So this cabin had a wood chip toilet and a serious compost pile, just to give you an idea of what kind of accommodations we had. And if either of them were left open, the whole house knew it because the stench was unbearable. I mean, these people were like the hosts of the house were hardcore. Like they were trying to make us like super environmentalists. So they would weigh our leftovers and our scraps from dinners and breakfasts and stuff because they wanted us to, be understanding about food waste and that kind of thing. So when we went to go like explore Tangier Island, it was really interesting because, you got to see how like people live on this little teeny tiny island. And the most interesting thing about it is that these people bury their loved ones in the front yard. So as you're
Oh,
walking through the island, all you see is tombstones
oh.
in front of people's houses. It makes kind of selling your house a little bit weird, but it was an interesting experience altogether. So one of the more interesting things about it is that to get from island to island, you had to canoe. And I thought it was interesting, but my mom might have had another idea because her canoe mate panicked in the middle of canoeing
Mm.
and they almost drifted off out to sea. So there was a lot of cussing and a lot of like a dramatic rescue that happened, but nonetheless, we got her back safely. So, in thinking about my time with the environmentalists, I think my fondest memory had to be my one and only animal encounter. So, in this particular summer trip, they took us inner city children out to the woods in the Shenandoah to teach us about survival skills. They wanted to teach us how to make fires and do all that kind of foolishness. But this particular project this day was learning how to use a map and a compass. They went out and they gave us a short class about how to use this map and compass, and then they left aluminum foil balls all over the woods and they told us to go collect them. And so they broke us up into groups and they said, go do it. Now, in hindsight, I think these people were nuts because they really took inner city children who knew nothing about the woods and just kind of said, go out and see nature. Nonetheless, we mapped our way out to the balls and we mapped our way back. Now, on the way back, we met some friends, feathered friends. As we were walking back on the path, we encountered a pack of wild turkeys.
Mm.
And if you know anything about turkeys are very aggressive. Um, so we just kind of stopped to kind of assess the situation because the turkeys hadn't yet sensed our presence, but we knew they were there. And us being super inner city kids, we thought we could just walk around them. And boy, were we wrong. They took one look at us and started charging at us at full speed ahead, like gobbling, squawking, necks feathers all like up and flapping and whatnot. It was a whole terrorizing thing. So somehow we managed to like our campsite was like right on the opposite side of the turkey, so we had no choice but to like come face to face with these wild turkeys. Like so, we managed to get past the turkeys unscathed. But that didn't stop these relentless feathered animals from taking it out on us. They followed us, and we're running top speed, and these turkeys are also running top speed behind us, like squawking and trying to kill us. So our the place where we were staying, all of our cabins were in this like big open field, like right past the path. So as we're like running top speed and screaming at the top of our lungs through the woods on the path, we finally get to this open field, and all of our counselors are sitting there waiting for us, and they're like, "What is wrong with these crazy children just screaming like banshees coming out of the woods?" And we're like, "Oh my God, they're trying to kill us!" And then they see the turkeys, and now they understand why we're running and screaming. Um, so to say that I was traumatized was just an understatement. Nowadays, I still enjoy doing my environmentalist thing, but as far as my summers are concerned, I prefer to have them full of sun and sand and drinks. But I will never forget my summers spent in the woods and my mom that allowed me to enjoy that experience. Thank you.
Keep it going for Patrice. Thank you. And happy birthday to your mommy. Thank you for sharing that story. Uh, my mom never sent us to summer camp, so I'm glad you had that experience, even though you were chased by wild turkeys. But that made Thanksgiving so much sweeter, I'm sure. Right? All right, next up. Oh, for those who just joined us, sorry. We have some refreshments and some water and jello shots in the cooler. See what you missed. People watching live. Also, we're always taking donations. I might pass the offering plate around the audience. But if you're watching, you can cash app the dollar sign cash app dollar sign Diana Diana the number eight Diana V8. So next up to the stage, this is her second time to the Telling Story stage. She was in our Love Story show. Shauna is a master storyteller. She is a healer. Is that, can I say that? Yes, she is a healer. She's my fellow Leo sister. Please welcome to the stage, Shauna Renee.
Okay, so I have to admit, when I first saw it, I was completely overwhelmed, a little bit afraid, even. But my real estate agent said, don't worry about it. If you get a landscaper out there and they clear it out, cut a few trees down, you'll have the best backyard in the entire neighborhood. So I said, okay, I'll take it. Now, I bought the house on my birthday, which is like late July. So I figured I didn't have a whole lot of time to do anything with it that summer. But the following summer, I said, all right, we are going to turn this mess into something magical. So I called someone in and they cleared everything out, cut a couple of trees down. It looked fantastic for a year. Then the following summer, everything grew back. So I called another landscaper out. They cleared it out again. It looked fantastic for about a year. And I did this for 6 summers and probably spent as many thousands of dollars trying to clear this backyard out. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna let it do what it do. I mean, it's beautiful. Like like our own personal Amazon. You know what I mean? Like the cure to cancer might be somewhere out there. This is gonna be what it is. Now, my father, who has a reputation for being a master gardener, okay, like folks used to tell me that he could grow like roses the size of people's heads, was not having any of it. So one summer, this was probably year 7 or 8, he's standing out on the deck looking over my own personal Amazon, and he thought to himself, I know exactly what you need. I know the lady who can do it. You know what? Don't even worry about it. I got it. As a matter of fact, I'll even pay for it. You just make sure you're here when she gets here. I said, all right, well, if you're going to pay for it, then, you know, be my guest. So maybe about a week later, I get a telephone call from the woman and she says, hey, listen, you weren't home, but I've come by. I took a look at the backyard. I'm almost certain we can take care of it. It'll take about 2 or 3 days. I'll be there next Saturday morning. We just need to make sure that there's somebody at home that can let us in. I said, all right, no problem. Following weekend comes, I'm upstairs, I don't know, folding laundry, sleeping, I don't know. Anyway, my husband's downstairs and he says, Beck, you might want to come downstairs. I said, well, okay. Well, oh yeah, that's right, that's right. The lady's coming to do the yard. Okay, okay. So I come downstairs, I look out of the front door, and there's this huge red pickup truck. And behind it, there's like a massive trailer. I'm like, oh snap, she's about to get it done, you know? So I'm super excited about this because my father, again, a master gardener, wouldn't just let anybody come in and tackle this job. So I meet her at the door and she's like, oh, okay, good, you're home. So listen, we just need a clear path to make sure that we can get everybody down into the yard because I kind of live on a hill. I said, yeah, you guys can just come on down here around the side of the house and we should be good. All right, great. So she goes back to the trailer and there's a little shaking around and moving around and I'm hearing like, I don't know, some weird noises. And then she comes out of the trailer with two goats. She got a goat in one hand and a goat in the other, and she leads the goats down to the backyard. And her son, who was working with her, also leads a couple of goats down to the backyard. Her assistant leading a couple more goats to the backyard. By the time it was over, we had several goats in the backyard. Well, all of them except one. One came onto the deck. Apparently, like she was the one that liked to check everything out and came up to the deck to make sure everybody was okay and dropped the load. I don't know. Have you all ever seen goats poop? It's the craziest thing. It's like they like shit peppercorns. This is crazy. Anyway, so after she shat upon my beautiful deck, she went down there to join her friends. And so the woman comes to me. She says, "All right, here's the deal. It's going to take them about 2 or 3 days to finish. The only thing that I'm asking is that you see this big blue bucket in the corner. Make sure that they have plenty of water. Obviously, they have plenty to eat. We put up an electric fence, so you shouldn't worry about them getting out at all. But just in case they do, here's a bucket with a little bit of food in it. If you shake the bucket, they'll know that means to come. But again, you shouldn't have a problem. We've never had any goats escape. There's 13 of them. Just make sure you count them before you go to bed and you count them when you wake up first thing in the morning. Oh, also you have that shed back there. They'll probably like dig up underneath the shed to sleep. So check that, in your final count. Okay, so she takes off and it's my husband and my two sons and me and we're just staring at the goats and goats are just kind of staring at us. My sons are like, get to work, get to work, get to work. And so finally, the goats get to work. And we're like, okay, so, all right, we are a music loving family. We are also a family that names everything. Like cars have names, rooms have names, clothes have names, hats have names. So, of course, the goats had to have names. So, we named almost all of them. So there's a beautiful blonde goat. I don't know if you've ever seen a blonde goat. We named her Beyonce. The really eccentric goat, the one that shit on my deck, we called her Erica. I mean, not because Erica would do something like that, but and there was this beautiful little tiny black goat. He was like midnight black and really didn't seem to fool with the rest of the goats. Like if they were in the front, he'd be in the back. If they were to the left, he'd be to the right. We called him T'Challa. And the rest of them kind of all looked alike. They were hard to tell apart. So we had like Michael and Prince. We had Luther and Anita, Drake, the boy's name, that one. Yeah, so we're watching. This is a good time. Now, by now, the neighbors have gotten word that there are goats in the backyard. So we've got like half the neighborhood on our deck. We're like
drinking mojitos, having fun, watching the goats, taking pictures, like, it's big fun. It's big fun. So about 7 or 8 o'clock, it's getting dark. I'm like, okay, let's call it a night. Boys, count the goats. I'm gonna go inside, clean up. So that's what happens. We all get inside, everything's fine, go to bed. Apparently the goats settle down for the night. I wake up the next morning super early, as I do, and I go outside and I count the goats. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But then I remember, she's like, check underneath the shed because sometimes they sleep there. So I said, I'll give it a couple of hours. I'll come back, count the goats again. Come back a couple of hours later, and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Man, where's T'Challa? Okay, 12. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh shit. One of the goats is missing. Okay. So I go run down the hill, look up underneath the shed. No goats underneath the shed. I'm panicking. I call the boys down. Boys, did you count the goats last night before you went to bed? And so my one son was like, no, I thought Makai did it. Makai, did you count the goats last night before you went to bed? No, I thought you just did it. So, oh no, I did ask my husband. Did you count the goats? He's like, that's you and your daddy's thing. I don't got nothing to do with that. So we are missing a goat. I'm panicked. So I'm like, okay, before we call this lady and tell her that we lost one of her goats, I'm like, boys, go get the bucket with the food. Marvell and I are going to drive around the neighborhood. You walk around the block and shake the bucket. She said they'll come if you shake the bucket. So we all take off in our respective directions, and we come back home after about 30 minutes, and no goat. Now, I'm getting a little nervous because I live in a very diverse neighborhood. A lot of black folks, a lot of white folks, a lot of Latino people, a lot of Indians, a lot of Caribbeans. In other words, it might not be the safest place for a goat. So I'm really scared at this point. So the boys say, you know what? I got an idea. I know exactly what to do. So they go up and they grab a couple of drumsticks. And they're like, all right, we're about to go find these goats. So they're out there doing their thing. And I think to myself, you know what? I need to check the listserv. Because if somebody saw the goat without question, they will put it on the listserv. They put everything on the listserv. Well, there was no word of a missing goat on the listserv, but there were a couple of messages about two young African American men who are walking around the neighborhood drumming on a bucket and screaming Drake. No, you can't make this up. So, being America, I'm like, okay, go grab my boys. I'm like, we're gonna stop this. Let me get my boys. We come back home. Now it's getting late. It's probably about 5 or 6 o'clock by this point. So I have to call this woman and tell her that the goats are missing, or the goat is missing. So I call her. She says, okay, don't panic. I'm about an hour away. I'll be there as soon as I can. So she comes and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't know. We did everything you said. The fence is still electrified. All of the rest of the goats are there. We used the food and drummed and called them and everything. We tried everything. So she says, okay, no, don't panic. Let me go back here. Let me make sure everybody else is here. So she counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, where's the child? No, she didn't call the child. She's like, oh, okay, he's back there. 11, 12. She says, no, they're all here. I'm like, no. Count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, they're all here. I'm like, wait a minute. You said you left 13 goats. She said, oh, you didn't speak to your husband. Oh, yeah, I told him we were going to take one of the goats because he doesn't really get along with the other guys. So there's only 12. Oh, I'm really sorry about calling you out here, but that's good news. I mean, I'm mortified, but I'm also relieved. So I go to my husband, love, sweetheart, baby cakes. You didn't think to tell me that the lady took one of the ghosts back? I mean, I'm just saying, that's something between you and your daddy. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Anyway, they did a fantastic job once it was all said and done. I mean, there was not one lick of green in my backyard. I think some of those goats climbed the trees and actually chewed off some of the leaves on the trees. It was glorious. And if you're wondering, yes, my yard still looks like the Amazon. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna. Keep her going. Yeah. Glad it wasn't a missing goat. 'Cause that goat would have been still for real. And redheaded and gone. Somebody in the comments said they had two goats named Coco and Chanel. So I'm gonna say that's hilarious. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay. So next up, coming to the stage is everybody's favorite librarian. She's a librarian, and she's an awesome mommy to a 18-month old new mommy. Yeah, kind of new mommy. She survived. She's a human and still alive. Yes. And now she's a children's librarian. She just started a new job at DC Public Schools. So please welcome Portia Oliver to the stage. Oh, I meant to say, this is her first time on the Telling Stories stage. So show her the extra love because to show her some extra love. She's nervous. But tell her, don't be nervous.
Take your time, take your time.
So yes, I am a librarian. Nervous, very nervous. So last time I was on stage, I actually proposed to somebody. That was a couple years ago. That ain't work out, so we gonna let that go. So I apologize. I didn't have time during my week, so I definitely had to write it earlier. So I hope you guys don't mind. Thank you. See, we already bonded earlier, so we already know. I got fired too from my summer job, so I get it. So this summer, I ended a long-term relationship, 8 whole years. It was stable. We had a routine. We knew each other. We knew what we were going to do, what we're not going to do. You know, in a relationship, you just get comfortable. And I was like, I know you're not going to do this laundry. I know you're not going to get up early. I'm not even going to fight you on it. It is what it is. It's going to be dirty. I don't care. All right. So that was our relationship. So it's not like it was like all nice when to crack that back. It was not happening before. It was done. Romance was out, right? But we could vegetate on the couch together. We could just sit there until we get old. We'd be all right. We can hold hands. We're fine with that. But then we had the pandemic, right? So we had COVID-19 happen, and it forced everybody in the house, right? You guys were in the house? I was in the house too. And it gave me a lot to think about. So I was willing to have this pandemic happen and be in the house, but I was not willing to be unhappy. I wasn't willing to just go through the motions and just not be fulfilled in life, right? And like I said before, I want to be happy, not single. So after 8 years in, and we were very comfortable,
I just never dressed up anymore. I was always barefaced, sweatpants every single day. Like I don't care, we got meetings. I was in sweatpants, okay? um, didn't even wear mascara. Anyone who knows me, I always wear mascara. I like to have the falsies without the falsies, a little bit, just a little bit. So just the basics of basics. When girls just had like the lip gloss and mascara on, so I wasn't even doing that. I was just like, all right, I'm here. We in this together. It is what it is. The death was part of whatever they say, right? So we didn't do anything anymore. We kept hectic hours. I mean, it was like we was up there in the morning, we was up there at the night. Like it was too much. I was just tired. I had like a little thing in the back of my like neck right here, like right here. Like I don't know what to say. It was a stress spot. It was too much stress. Like I was sitting there like this all the time. Like I didn't know what was going on. Like this was a relationship, so it was too much for me. And every time something happened, no matter what, never had my back. I don't care what happened. Never. She's like, nope, not take responsibility. I'm gonna let that happen over there. You alive, right? That's all you need to be. All right. That was a relationship. So I kept saying to myself, every time I go home, you got me fucked up. Right? Apologize. But that's what was happening. So at the beginning, I had on my slacks, my blouses, my little ugly little professional work shoes, little brown ones with the leather. They don't get messed up. I had those on, right? I attended work events. I was volunteering for outreach opportunities on Saturdays, my goddamn Saturdays. So I was doing all that because that's what you should do for for your first real job, right? That's what I was in a relationship with for 8 years, my first real job. So the best part of the relationship in this whole year is we did not have to see each other. We had telework, y'all. We are a public facing agency. We had telework. I had to see nobody. I loved it. I ain't gonna lie. I loved it. So I became busy not being busy. So we have these meetings, these virtual meetings, camera off. Y'all need to see me. We got it. Y'all hear my voice. I'm gonna unmute. I'm gonna say yes, that sounds great. Thank you. I was ready. So to be honest, at the time, I really appreciated the fact that my agency was really, really bad about creating policies and rolling out of new guidelines. I loved it at that moment. I was like, oh, for real? Y'all can't come up like how we do telework? Y'all know how to work out these hours? Y'all know how to get people laptops so we can do virtual time not on our personal devices? Okay, you can't figure none of that out? Great. Loved it. I spent that time looking for a new day, right? Because that's what you do. So time went on, time went on, time went on. The summertime came. We had to come back into work. So we had to report physically. I was not ready. I was not ready to see these people I did not like. All right? Not ready for it. Not everybody. We coworkers, I'm sorry. I like you. And my husband too. I'm sorry, my work husband. Former work husband. Okay. So they ended up giving me a promotion. And I was like, oh, for real? Y'all supposed to be doing something. So I was happy about it. So I got my little promotion, collected a little bit of a check. I was enthused. Because everybody loves some extra points, right? Yes.
More coins.
Yes, more points. Can never end it with that, right? So they gave me money. I just felt like I deserved more money, right? It's been a year, so like I deserve more money. This is nice, but where's the rest? So that was one thing. So I guess they thought good. I wasn't good. So I'm out here looking. I'm trying to find my new bay. Because I'm trying to collect the whole check out here. I'm not trying to collect this check, another check, another check, right? So I'm out here swiping. I'm here swiping. And then I find something that says, okay, processing duties, input data, and online cataloging. Okay, we're going to swipe right on that. That sounds fun. You know, get a little librarian on. That's fine. Found another one, the ideal candidate to have experience working with rare manuscripts of books and objects. Okay, that sounds fun.
ain't you good already? Got it. That's like part of that too. Then I found Bay, y'all. Found him. He had some kids, but you know, he was all fine and glistening and whatnot. And I was like, that's all right. Everybody got kids out here. So me too. So I was like, we got it. So he was looking like a six-figure check. Okay. Looking good, right? Had health benefits, Monday through Friday schedule. So of course I swiped right because I said, you know what? I just found love. So we started chatting because he liked my qualifications, you know, qualified and whatnot.
Right.
So we decided to make things real. So I went on an interview.
Yeah.
Yes. Looking good too, if I may add. I had a blowout. I had some mascara on, what I told you I was trying to give up, but I put back on because I was happy again. Had my mascara looking like falsies out here. Had my lip gloss. I was popping. You know, I made sure to look thick, but not too thick. So I had a little wrap dress, and I was like, yeah. Showed up to that interview, okay? So, go through the questions. I'm loving it. I'm like, ooh, they get me. They understand. They tell me I want to be an artist. I know my librarian. Understand that's what that master's degree is. But I'm trying to tell you who I am. I'm an artist. And they were like, we love it. And I was like, I just knew. I already knew. So, not even an hour later, I'll go back to my, you know, my regular job because, you know, I'm trifling like that. So I was still interviewing and going back to my regular job. Went back, sitting at the desk, get a phone call. All right, let me answer my phone call. I'm like, hello? And like, hey, we would like to send you an offer letter. And I said, oh, okay, cool. Because I told you, I laid it on thick, right? I call it thick girl magic. All right. So now I have to tell my partner. So I try to let him down easy. It's me, not you. Because that's how people lie. But you know, it's always them. Because I was out here growing and flourishing, and I was too good for what they had to offer. And that's exactly how your girl left being an adult librarian and into being a media specialist at DCPS.
And she's so creative. We used to work together at the branch, and she would have all these arts and crafts projects for the kids and great ideas. So I'm glad you found a great place to be. It's always good to quit a job willingly versus our first story. Somebody had to go. So there's somebody. Okay, last but definitely not least, coming to the stage. We've done 4 virtual shows, and she's been in 3 of them. And now she's at our live show. I just want to say she does not live here in the area. She came specially for this. So I'm so happy to see our next storyteller is Brandis Rawls. And yay! And she's a Georgia peach. With Southern. She's a Delta girl. She's a hospitality spirit, having worked in hotels, but really that is just her aura to make sure you are taken care of. She's the sweetest person. When she gets on here, you're going to love her immediately and want to know her forever. That is the way it is. So please welcome Brandis Ross to the show.
Hey y'all. All right. Yeah, I'm here. I came here today. Um, Fun fact: my birthday was last Sunday, the 5th. Happy belated birthday to me.
Oh yeah, I never seen that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and my license expired on my birthday, so I was a little nervous going to the airport this morning because I'm from Louisiana. My license says Louisiana, and Hurricane Ida didn't let any mail come through, so I'm living on a prayer. Luckily, I went to the airport this morning and just gave him my ID like nothing was wrong, you know, because nothing's wrong. And he gave it right back to me. I walked on through. Amen. Thank you, Father God. And we are here. I traveled here from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm there doing some consulting work in hospitality, uh, rehabbing 2 hotels. I hope my crew is watching. Um, we're reopening one of our hotels on tomorrow, so I'll be leaving here pretty shortly to get back and open a hotel. Wish us luck. because we're going to take it and run with it. But this summer, this summer has transformed my life, along with last summer. Um, Trace was talking about how COVID-19 had her reevaluate her relationship with her faith, and it helped me. It made me reevaluate my relationship with myself. Um, I am a soul that loves to take care of others. I will take care of you all day long. Whatever you need, you let me know. I got it, right? Uh, COVID-19, I couldn't be around people. So how do you serve without being able to serve, right? It forced me. The universe forced me to serve myself. Amen. Woo, look at that. And that relationship was something. So one of my favorite summertime memories is simply laying in the grass. I'm a country girl. I'm from Fort Valley, Georgia. Uh, Shout out to any of my high school friends that are watching this. Um, I'm from the country. My closest neighbor was a half a mile away. So I would spend days not really speak with anybody. My favorite thing to do though was lay in the grass. Just lay and feel the grass around me, watch the clouds with my dog, me and Chestnut. I lived on the outskirts of Camp John Hope. It's a state FHA camp where you go to think salute your shorts, but black people and cool. Okay, so I lived there, so I had access to this camp all year long. So when nobody was at camp, I would just hop a fence, and me and Chestnut would get lost. We would go. If the pool was open, we were jumping in there. Sorry, mom. I know it was no lifeguard. It's okay. I wasn't going in the deep end. But I had a private pool to myself. I would go down to the swings and try. My goal was to try to go around. I never made it. Thank you, Jesus, because I probably would have busted my head. But those are the memories that I love. Just being. And so this past summer, our COVID-19 summer, forced me to go back there. And in Baton Rouge at my house, there's a big yard, and nobody around. My neighbor to this side never came outside. This house was abandoned, and the people on the back were a really old couple that they couldn't hear. It took me 2 months of waving to get their attention to say hello. So I wasn't worried about them. So I spent all my time out there. Oh my goodness. I started gardening again. I would get up early in the morning with the sun and go outside. There's a big screened in porch. I'm going to make me some tea and I'm going outside. And I spent the whole day there. And I remembered myself. I remembered how every summer I'm getting shipped out somewhere. I'm like, wow, this is why I really enjoy being at my space because I was always home. I've spent summers in Cleveland, Ohio with all my cousins. Like you did. We would go to the uh to the city pool. That's where I learned to swim and that's why I was okay with going jump in my pool. And then I thought about the summer times I would spend in my grandma's. Um, in the country. In the country. No air conditioning. Oh, no air conditioning for 2 months, Jesus. In South Georgia, Blakely, Georgia, Early County. Whew. I could take some heat, y'all. I could take some heat. And all throughout that heat, what I remember most is the food. Is shucking corn and shelling field peas. This summer allowed me to go back to all those summers. To the summers riding with my grandma, eating banana chips, about to go over to May Liza's house, sit on the porch with her for a little while, just to visit. This this past summer was the summer to relive all the summers, right? And then we get to be here and relive them again. How amazing! How amazing! This summer, our second COVID summer, because COVID is real, mask up, don't be no fool. Anyway, Um, this summer, I moved from my home in Baton Rouge, where I've been for 7 years. I moved back to Atlanta to be with my daughter, to be with my baby, because she needed me, and I needed her. Oh, Lord, I needed her. And it's been a blessing. I started a consultancy last year, and my goal is to help people discover how everybody wins in their life. And so, me moving there was me trying to make that bigger. Atlanta's a bigger market. There are more people I can reach. It's easier to get places. So it works for everybody. In that situation, everybody wins. Amen. Amen. And so as I'm creating these everybody wins situations, I'm talking to myself. I'm recognizing that everything's all right. We're coming back into this second COVID summer. It's not as quiet as the last one because I served her enough. It's now time to serve some more people. And so my latest opportunity now gives me an opportunity to serve more people. I I am a GM at two hotels in Fenton, Missouri. If you're ever there, please come stay at the Town Place Suites Fairfield Inn. We'll take good care of you. Um, but I'm there to reopen the hotel, be the cleanup woman. You know, That's- Mama love you. She gonna get you a line. You need everybody needs T branders. I like to think of myself as a a real hip, cool Nanny McPhee. You could call me Nanny McBee if you want. Uh, I'll be here until you don't need me anymore. And everybody's winning here because I get a chance to help other people grow, and they get a chance to grow. They want it, and I do too. Everybody wins. Everybody wins in every situation in your life. That's the goal. That's the moral of this story. Create a situation where everybody in your life wins, and you will always be happy. So I am so very happy right now. So very happy. I'm coming into a summer of my own life. Amen. I feel like last year, if we stretch out the year, last year was coming from winter into spring, and now we're getting into that summertime, and the fall is coming. Then the fall comes, get new fashions, good little energy coming. Watch out, I'm coming for you. You see this hair? It's grown since the last time y'all seen it. It is amazing. We are doing amazing things. I just happy summer to you. Make sure that everybody wins in your life. I love you. Peace.
Thank you. Give it up for Brandon one more time. Thank you for sharing that beautiful story. I know the pandemic was hard and challenging for us in different ways, but I do think it also hopefully gave us the opportunity, like you said, to stop and to be thoughtful and contemplative. Portia changed her life during COVID. She's like, this ain't working, got a new job, found herself. And I really wanted to do this show because we are not 100% back to normal. If we're, I don't know if we'll ever go back to normal and what we knew. That's why we're outside and being safe. But I do think that we miss connection and community in the time of the pandemic. And I do love bringing people together. And so I hope you all enjoyed yourself. If you're watching, thank you all for coming. For those in the audience, let's give it up one more time for our storytellers. Thank you for sharing your stories and your truth. I'm going to say my cash app one more time.
Amen.
It's $ Diana, Diana, V, and then the number 8. You can cash app us. And so our next show is going to be virtual. I'm going to announce it here. Our next show is going to be Wednesday, November 10th. It is called School Days, HBCU Homecoming Story. It's going to be hosted by a very special person. I'm not going to share it yet. I'm just going to call him Mr. Homecoming for right now. So we're going to put out a call for storytellers. Check my Facebook page, Twitter, IG, if you want to share HBCU Homecoming Story that you can share with the public. Because I'm not, Diana,
where will you be September 25th?
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes. Oh, I should plug myself as well.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yes, I'm doing 2 shows. Uh, Saturday, September 18th, I'm in a comedy showcase, a Crystal City Comedy Showcase in Arlington, Virginia, September 18th. And then September 25th, I am in a show with Story District. Our director, Amy, is here. Well, Amy, I don't know if you want to come up, but September 25th, the show is all about comebacks and returns. It's at the Capitol Turnaround in DC at 8 p.m. So you can go to storydistrict.org to buy tickets. So those are 2 upcoming shows where you can find me. And I think that's it, y'all. Thank you all for coming. We're going to click end on the video. Thank you. Bye.